Here we are. Hello, hello. Okay, Heidi, welcome to our one-on-one session. Thank you for taking the time to complete your survey so I could better equip this session for you. As I like to with all of my sessions, before I begin in the group or individually with you, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we're working from, the Noongar people. We are working on Wajak Budja and we pay our respects to elders past and present, and we extend that acknowledgement to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders that may be joining us today. Our frame is a little out, that's a little bit better. Okay, so just before we get started, Heidi, as we discussed when we had that little chat when you came in, if you do need to use the bathrooms, straight down the corridor to the right, please make sure at all times any bags or anything are stowed under your desk, just so that we prevent any health and safety. You've got your water, you've got your snacks if at any time you need to utilise. We can. Again, thanks for taking the time to do that survey today. We're going to take a look at recognising indicators of risk in children and young people. We'll discuss different types of harm, identify warning signs, and think about how we as community services workers respond appropriately. Because you're not currently working in community services, but you are interested in working in this sector, this session will focus on practical workplace examples and situations that you may encounter in the future. Okay. So one of the reasons we opted to go to the one-on-one session for you was not only to catch you up, but just because your teammates or your classmates are already working in the sector. So when you think of the words duty of care, what do you think it means? What does duty of care mean to you?
Taking responsibility and protecting the people around you.
Sure. And when might a worker have a responsibility to report a concern?
If they have been told or heard of any inappropriate doings.
Sure, definitely. What kind of responsibilities do workers have to keep children safe?
My pauses. I'm going to have to do it all again, I think. Be on hold. Okay, I think we're back. Okay, so duty of care is both a legal and an ethical responsibility. You've got your learner guide there with you. If you want to take any notes during the duration of the session, you can. Later on, we'll use the whiteboard. So duty of care in a nutshell is both legal and ethical responsibility of community services workers in this context. Workers must act when they have concerns, and our role as community services workers is to observe and report, never to investigate. Okay, now let's look at the different types of harm that as workers we may observe. Okay, so what I've done here, because in one of your feedbacks on your survey that we did was
that you like getting handouts and you like having things to update you with. So I have given you, this is a recognising indicators of risks handout, and that will, what I'm about to talk you through, you'll be able to go with the flow.
Perfect.
So we're going to look at the different types of harm that there is. And that's your types of harm summary sheet. And just so you know, those pages, I think, are back to front. So you can see that one. Yep. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so there is 4 different kinds of harm. You'll see them on there: physical, emotional, sexual, and neglect. And we can go through and give a example. So what kind of signs might you see if there is some emotional harm happening?
Not wanting to interact with people, kind of keeping to themselves, anxiety, being cautious around people.
Really interesting response and definitely a huge indicator. What about if there was one sign, does that necessarily mean the child's at risk?
No.
Okay.
No.
Cool. Could changes in behaviour tell us something, do you think, as community services workers?
Yes, I think you always need to look at any small changes. That means something new is going on.
So just to reiterate what you're saying that we should observe over time if there's little changes happening. Yeah.
And never dismiss anything.
What kind of physical signs might concern you?
Bruising, just injuries, sore bodies, burns.
Definitely.
Scratches,
So indicators can be physical, behavioural, or emotional. One indicator alone doesn't always confirm harm, which you've just recognised, and patterns and context are important. So if a child all of a sudden is turning up to school or an activity and they're tired, but they've got family over from another country or something, we can link it to that. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's a huge indication coming together. So we're going to work through a realistic scenario together. Imagine you're working in a community services setting and this situation has been brought to your attention. I'm now going to give you your scenario worksheet, which is here. Again, because you prefer this kind of this way, we'll do it together. So if you're comfortable, Heidi, just read that one out. Okay. That's your scenario.
Yep. 8-year-old Ava has arrived at an after-school program wearing long sleeves on a very hot day. During outdoor activities, staff noticed bruising on both of her upper arms. Over the past month, staff have also noticed that Ava has become increasingly withdrawn and no longer plays with her friends.
Okay. So our scenario involves 8-year-old Ava, and as you were reading through that and saying that out loud, did you think about any indicators that stand out to you? And if it's easier for you, feel free to underline them or whatever.
Bruising on both of her upper arms, withdrawn, wearing long sleeves on a hot day, and no longer associating or playing with her friends.
Yeah, so I noticed bruising and withdrawal. These may be indicators of harm, but you cannot make assumptions. Your role is to observe and document, report concerns according to the workplace.
Yeah.
So as we go through the questions one by one, we can do this together. What indicators of risk can you identify? So if you want to, you can go back to your glossary here that we will hand out, and this is also in your learner guide if you need it. So examples, physical indicators, bruises, burns, behavioural, withdrawal, emotional, fearfulness, environmental, hunger, lack of supervision, etc.
Yep.
So you can actually utilize this glossary to have a think about what indicators of risk you can identify.
Definitely physical.
Yeah, so just write it in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So physical,
And also behavioural,
because you were
Yeah.
saying what makes you say behavioural?
because she's withdrawn and
Yeah.
no longer playing with her friends.
Absolutely. So again, if you reference the glossary that you have, withdrawals right up there. Did you notice any emotional or environmental indicators?
Would environmental be like wearing the long sleeves?
Yeah, I
Not
think so.
environmental?
Definitely. I can't see it being included in physical, behavior, or emotional. So we would, I think, if it was a elimination, then we would definitely.
Maybe a bit of a more emotional as
Yeah.
well because she's withdrawn.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so as well. Excellent. In this kind of situation, are these indicators physical, behavioural, or environmental, which is what you're trying to answer? This is all really important when you're compiling information to submit a report.
Yeah.
In this kind of scenario, what kind of additional information do you think you would need?
Information, maybe like the times and days and times.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
And why is it important when you're working with a young person or child and you're establishing to factually write a report to not to make assumptions?
because you really don't want to get things wrong.
Mm,
You need to have evidence before, making. I guess if you make an assumption,
yeah,
things can happen.
definitely.
Yeah.
So I'll read out the next one. And this is about 10-year-old Liam, who regularly arrives to school tired and hungry. Staff have noticed that his clothes are often dirty and unsuitable for the weather. Liam frequently struggles to concentrate in class and has mentioned that there is often no food available at home. Okay, so I noticed repeated signs such as hunger, fatigue, and unsuitable clothing. These observations may indicate neglect, but I need to record only what I've seen and follow the correct reporting procedures. So when we're talking about Liam, what risks can you identify with Liam? That's just there if you want to re-go over it, the scenario. And again, don't forget you've got your glossary here to reference.
The environmental indicators, so the risk of hunger and being tired, not being able to concentrate. Also unsuitable clothing.
Did we mention something about that clothes are often dirty? So that could be
physical.
a physical, yeah, because poor hygiene comes under physical.
And inappropriate clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
again, what do you think about Liam ticking all of the indicators?
Yeah, I think it could probably fall into all of. Yeah, maybe they're struggling to concentrate, for going the emotional.
Because if he's struggling to concentrate, you could put the behavioural.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. And in the scenario with Liam, what additional information would you need before reporting?
Again, just evidence daily, maybe daily tracking. Mm. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure, maybe just, tracking each day how he comes into school.
Yeah, definitely. Documenting.
Yeah.
Really important. And again, referring to your own employers'
Mhm.
policies and procedures and how they want you to record and where. Okay, so I think a key reminder we've taken from this little exercise is that we need to observe and record facts only.
Mhm.
We definitely need to avoid assumptions, and we need to follow, like I just said, we need to follow workplace policies and procedures, and we need to report concerns to the appropriate person. Can you think of a reason why it's important only to share your concerns with the necessary person or people?
Yeah, because you don't want gossip.
Yeah,
don't want
excellent.
personal information spread out.
Because it can actually be a you could potentially put the young person or
Yes.
child at more risk by disclosing information that is, not really
Private for
prudent.
everyone.
Yeah. I wanted to give you this. So your glossary handout that I did for you, your scenario cards, and I've also created this indicator chart just for you to have further reference when you're going through this kind of stuff in this particular part of this session. These will hopefully be separated to show you and to follow sequentially to keep on track with your learning. So, so can you, recalling today's session, can you indicate, can you name one indicator of behavioural harm?
Yeah, aggression,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, changes in behaviour.
Definitely. And what about a physical indicator?
Bruising, fatigue, poor hygiene, cuts and bruises.
And if you were to talk about one thing you learnt today, what would that be?
The four indicators, the 4 separate groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that is it making more sense to you to have it on the paper?
It does, yes.
And the one-on-one facilitation as well
100%.
as yeah.
Yeah.
And you understand all your queries, your questions, how they've gone in order to match your glossary and indicator.
Yeah, it's all set out. Perfect.
So today we've looked at duty of care, the different types of harm and how to recognise indicators of risk. The most important thing to remember is that community services workers are not responsible for investigating any concerns. Our role is to recognise signs, document observations, and follow the correct reporting procedures, which will change from workplace to workplace. So it's really important when you are out in the big wide world and working as a community services worker that you are really aware of each organisation's
Procedures
and policies. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, Heidi, that concludes our session. Do you have any questions from recognising indicators of risk?
No, I think you covered it all, and I've got it all here in front of me, which is good, so I can go back and
definitely use your
read through
highlighter
it,
and stuff as you wanted to. Just one more question. Did you want me to send all of this over in an email as well, just in case?
Yes, please. That would be great.
Please, will do. And I will see you at our next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back, Heidi. I hope you enjoyed your break. We are about to kick off on our second session, and we're going to build on what we learnt about recognising indicators of risk by focusing on how to respond when a child or young person discloses information that may indicate harm. By the end of your session today, you should feel more confident in responding professionally, using appropriate language, and understanding your responsibility as a community services worker. From our previous session, can you recall one indicator of harm that we discussed?
Physical.
Yeah. Awesome. And so when we looked at the physical, we thought someone might have bruising.
Yep.
And I think our second scenario from the first session, there was bruising. Or the first one.
The indicators.
Yeah, there was some bruising.
Oh, yes. The
Yeah.
scenario, yes.
Definitely. And just to recap again, what does duty of care mean to you?
Taking care, watching over the people that are in your. Yeah.
Definitely. So it's an ethical and a legal responsibility. Yeah. And again, you can reflect and utilize your glossary with those terms. What is one responsibility workers have when they're concerned about a child?
To go to their line manager, follow the procedures and policies of their workplace.
Yeah.
Keep it private.
And record
And
accurately.
recorded, yes.
When you think about the two scenarios that we discussed in our previous session, do you think a worker would investigate the concerns themselves?
No, no, we take the notes and then.
So, yeah, great. Because the next thing I was going to ask you is what do you think is the worker's role?
Yeah, so we take the notes, timestamp it all correctly, and then we pass it on to the appropriate people.
Yeah, great. And so we established that workers have a duty of care, community services workers have a duty of care. Workers recognise and report concerns, but are not responsible for investigating.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about how workers should respond when a child discloses information. So a child has come to you and disclosed information. I'm going to give you now a glossary handout for this session as well. There's a glossary handout, so you'll see I have given you a definition of what you're going to need throughout this session. I'm also going to give you a disclosures response checklist. And which you can see, this will give you it's basically a step-by-step of how to act verbally and non-verbally and communicate while a young person is disclosing. And the third thing I want to give you to help you along in this session is a sentence starter. So, for example, encouraging a child to talk under this section, I've written use open and neutral prompts. Can you tell me more about that? How did that make you feel? So we're not answering for the young person, we're giving open questions. So that is your sentence starter. And so I've named it sentence starters and respectful language prompts responding to disclosures. And that is what you're going to require. So by the end of this session, you should be able to identify appropriate responses to a disclosure, use respectful and neutral language, explain why leading questions should be avoided, and understand the importance of confidentiality. and follow workplace reporting systems. I just want to double check, Heidi, that you can see the PowerPoint clearly. I'm happy to work with you one-on-one at the desk. I think it's a lot more appropriate that it's just the two of us, but just want to make sure you can see that. You all can see it. Okay. So we're going to commence with some scenarios. And what we're going to do you'll see the scenarios up on the PowerPoint, and I'll also read them out. So 11-year-old Chloe stays behind after a community activity and quietly says, I don't really like going home anymore because people argue all the time and sometimes things get broken. Chloe appears nervous and avoids eye contact. Over the last few weeks, staff have noticed that she has become quieter and less engaged during activities. So when we're thinking about Chloe, and we've got your responding to disclosures checklist, your sentence starters, and your glossary handout, what information has Chloe disclosed?
That she's not feeling safe to go home.
I don't really like going home anymore because people argue all the time and sometimes things get broken. Using your responding to disclosures checklist, this one here, what would you say first?
Thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
And I'd make sure I took her away somewhere where there wasn't other people around as well before I spoke to her.
And what language should you use? So if we go here.
Oh yeah. So I'm glad you spoke to me.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that? I'm here to listen.
And when we talk about conversing with a young person or a child, why is it important not to promote secrecy?
Because you want them to feel like they have a safe person to speak to.
However, we can't guarantee that we can keep it a secret.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So in this language indicator, if you want to read that one out.
I may need to share this information with someone who can help.
Really important. And what action do you think is should be taken next?
So we'd need to record the information that we were told and then follow our workplace policies and procedures and finish it up by reporting our concerns to the appropriate person.
Definitely. And what are some ways you can acknowledge Chloe's concerns while remaining calm and professional? I really like the way you're utilising your glossaries and sheets, Heidi. I can see that you definitely do learn better that way.
I need it in front of me, yes.
Yeah. So how can you acknowledge Chloe's concerns while remaining calm and professional? So would it be the way you spoke to Chloe?
Yes, so speaking calmly to her, letting her know that I'm there. I'm acknowledging everything she's saying to me. And letting her speak in her own words, being respectful. Yeah,
Definitely.
letting her know that I'm thankful that she's opened up to me and I will do all I can to help her.
So for this next one, we're going to do a second scenario. Again, you have your glossary handout, your disclosure, and your sentence starters to utilise. And you've also got a copy of the scenario, which is 10-year-old Ethan tells a support worker, sometimes I don't want to go home because I'm scared when people yell. Mum says not to tell anyone. During recent sessions, Ethan has appeared tired and withdrawn and has struggled to participate in group activities. So given what you know about Ethan, what indicators of risk can you identify?
The emotional abuse.
Sure.
um,
Which you're referring to?
that is, sometimes scared to go home because mum yell or people yell, and mum says not to tell anyone about it.
That's a big one, isn't it?
It
It's
is,
a bit of a thing
putting
that
that
doesn't
pressure on a
want to
child.
let mum down, would he?
Yeah. And then also being withdrawn, so emotional abuse, or is that what I
Mhm.
just said before? And maybe a bit of neglect in there if he's
Yeah.
struggling to sleep and
He's
withdrawn.
appearing tired.
Mm.
Yeah. In this situation and this scenario with Ethan, what would be the first thing that you would say? And you've got your
This one here.
yeah. So you could
ask him to tell me more.
Yeah, can you
Tell
can
me
you tell me
about
about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you avoid saying?
Like, did your mum give you those bruises? Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Did your mum say anything else?
yeah.
Did your mum
putting a question.
Yeah, was
yeah.
your mum drinking? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not doing any leading questions, you're
Yeah.
only doing neutral language, which again is indicated in your glossary here. And why is confidentiality so important in this situation?
To protect the child. Think if it could be a toxic environment like that, you don't want the parents to know that he's spoken, and his mum to get upset with him.
Yeah. And in this situation, who should the information be reported to?
To your lot. Is it your line leader? Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
Yeah, your
To the appropriate,
yeah.
in your policies and procedures, and
Yeah.
like we discussed, that could change depending on the employer. So I always say to potential community services workers, it's vital that no matter, even if you're working in conjunction with another service, to always to cover yourself and make yourself aware of policies and procedures to protect the young person and you.
Yeah.
So tell me why you think remaining calm is essential.
Because you want the child to trust you, to feel safe enough to open up to you and to disclose how they're feeling and what's going on.
Do you think remaining calm might encourage the child to give you more information?
Yes.
Potentially? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about listening carefully?
Yes. You need to show them that you are listening to them so that they again can feel safe to open up to you, and you can document everything accordingly.
I think that's really important to say, is that the more active listening we're doing, the better our report and precise documentation can be. And again, we can't avoid, I guess we would love to, but we can't promise any secrecy to a young person, and that's why.
Yeah. Because we need to report it.
Yeah, and we need to follow our
procedures.
So imagine a child tells you something concerning. Your first responsibility is to stay calm and listen. We do not ask questions that suggest answers, and we can't promise to keep secrets. I'm now going to do a demonstration for you of what not to do. Okay? So, did your mum do that? Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Are you sure? What was inappropriate about it? Okay, yes, all of it.
All of that, yes.
And why was what I said problematic?
Because you're saying you're not going to tell anyone, you're keeping a secret.
Yeah.
But you're also putting all kind of questions in their head, and you're not believing them when you're saying
letting them feel doubt. And okay, so I should have instead not directly asked, did your mum do that?
Yeah.
should not have said, don't worry, I won't tell anyone
No.
because I may have to escalate it
Yes.
to the appropriate people. And I shouldn't have installed doubt in the young person
Mhm.
by questioning whether they were sure or not. Okay, now I'm going to model or demonstrate to you what is appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you for telling me. Can you tell me more about that? You've done the right thing by talking to me. I may need to share this information with someone who can help. What was different about this response?
I think you were just being honest. You were being calm. You were letting them lead the conversation, I guess.
Mm.
Mm.
And we're going to talk about neutral language, which was used in this example.
Yeah.
And why is that important?
I think it just gives that child a bit more openness and a bit more willingness and trust in you that they can communicate.
Definitely. And again, why can we not, as community services workers, promise secrecy?
Because we may need to escalate it and pass it on to the appropriate people to help the child.
Yes, definitely. Definitely excellent. Okay, so now on your and I'm going to give you this one is called a response template. So we'll go through this together. Yep, that one there. There you go. And then so think about the scenarios that we've been discussing. Would a worker investigate the concerns themselves?
No,
Mm.
we never investigate.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go through another scenario now, and I'm going to read it out to you. 9-year-old Mia stays behind after an activity and quietly says, I don't like going home anymore because people yell at me all the time. What we're going to do now is together, we're going to fill out this response template.
Yep.
So we're going to go through what has the child or young person disclosed, and there's a little prompt here that says record only the facts and information provided.
Okay, so she's disclosed that she doesn't like to go home anymore because people yell at her all the time.
Correct. So that would be your okay. And then
Indicators.
what indicators of risk can you identify?
Be emotional
Mm-hmm.
and environmental as well, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. So you would just tick them.
Yep.
Excellent. And number 3, what would you say first? Write an appropriate response. You can do that from your sentence starters
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
So you're definitely on the right track there. Yes, exactly. Thank you for telling me. I'm here to help. Can you tell me more? Exactly. And what language questions should you avoid?
Leading questions.
Yeah,
So like, did your mum? Yeah.
do that.
Did your mum?
Yeah. So leading questions. A really common terminology that you will become familiar with. And then why is it important not to promise secrecy?
Because we will need to potentially
Report.
yes.
Yeah. And what have you got?
What action should be taken next? They would follow workplace procedures, report concerns, seek guidance from a supervisor, record observations.
What would you say?
I would record the observations. I'll probably do them all.
Right.
Would follow workplace procedures first, and then report the concerns to the appropriate person.
So would you not record?
Yes, I did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
So
that?
you would
Yeah,
do them all.
do them all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then what is the thing that you learned the most about this scenario?
Is to just make sure you use the right wording, and not to use leading questions.
Yeah. So if we were to, I guess, talk about that, we would say one indicator alone does not always mean a child is experiencing harm.
No.
And you very correctly identified that you can monitor that over a period of time. As community services workers, we must always avoid making assumptions, and we should record facts and observations objectively. As workers, we are responsible for recognising and reporting concerns. However, we are definitely not responsible for investigating them. Workplace policies and procedures must always be followed. From this session, Heidi, what's one indicator of harm you think that you will remember?
The emotional, I think, is a big one.
Yeah. Do you think that's something that might get overlooked a bit when we're working with young
because
people?
it's not a physical thing that you can see.
Yeah.
It comes in all different kind of levels to it.
So as a worker, you have to really be clued on and
Yes.
like in the monitoring. And so in that case, do you think it would be appropriate that if you noticed something about a young person, we talked about the example before, that a young person might be turning up tired to school for a couple of weeks and being withdrawn and not as actively participating. However, we talked about that could be because they've got family visiting from overseas, they're having late nights, they're having social events with their family. Do you think it's appropriate to maybe just flick your line leader or your supervisor a little note every day and just saying, Ava, again, today was really tired.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that needs to be escalated straight away. I think it's something you would,
definitely. But you don't want to keep that information necessarily to yourself.
No.
One thing before we end today's session, I think is really important is we don't necessarily talk about or teach enough about the community services workers protecting themselves. And really the only way to do that is to respond and report exactly as your policies and procedures dictate. And to keep in mind duty of care, confidentiality, neutral language and leading questions to always be avoided.
So Heidi, I thank you for attending your one-on-one sessions. I will get you to do the feedback form.
Mhm.
Have you any questions?
I don't.
No.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and you
Lots
can
of
take
information
those.
here to read over again. And
Yeah, and if you do feel yourself being overwhelmed or anything, you know, you can reach out.
Mhm.
My role as a trainer is to adapt and facilitate so that it works for you and that the concepts are understood no matter how. So thank you for today, and I will see you at our next session.
thank you very much.